footage has just emerged showing what is thought to be a meteor falling from the sky in Russia's Siberia. As you can see, this dash cam caught what appears to be a meteorite lighting up the sky. Rescue services say that they've received more than 400 phone calls from eyewitnesses. And this next video shows light flashes above a residential area. The Emergencies Ministry says that there's been no significant damage to infrastructure. Here's what the author of that video told us.
When I walked out of the hospital that you can see in the dashcam footage, I walked towards the car and saw the sky light up. It was very bright. I saw a fireball. About 30 seconds later I heard a loud explosion.
Okay, let's get more on this story now. RT's Miguel Francis Santiago joins me in the studio. And the first question I'd like to ask you, apart from what happened, was I'm quite curious. Meteor or meteorite? What are we dealing with here?
Well, actually, see, a meteorite is something that falls from the space and touches the Earth, while a meteor is the one that breaks up in the sky without really causing any significant touchdown.
So there you go, there's an important distinction here.
Yep, learn something new every day, huh? Well, but this one, you know, they keep on falling, Neil. This is the third one since 2013, so in Chelyabinsk we had a major one that shattered windows and people had to duck for cover underneath their office tables. You know, that explosion burned up at an altitude of 30 to 50 kilometers. Its fragments crashing onto the Earth over a large territory in the Chelyabinsk area, with the more heavy pieces landing around the Lake Chebarkur, which is 78 kilometers west of Chelyabinsk, and the largest piece weighing half a ton. So you can imagine how some of these people at this latest one in eastern Siberia were really fearing for their lives.
That's it, isn't it? Because they're just worried about the impact. If it hits the ground, there is a serious danger.
Oh yeah. You know, and eastern Siberia, of course, Siberian population, 40 million people. That's 27% of the Russian population. A lot of people in the Caucasia region who saw this thing light up the sky in an instant were quite worried. Of course, the people living near the city of Sayanorsk, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, were really worried because of several hydropower plants located in the area, and over 420 calls were placed into the emergency services and logged, with people really worrying. Let's listen to some of them.
I saw a big light. It was almost as bright as day. I was there with my child and my parents. My child was very scared. We thought it was a bomb or something. It was very confusing. It didn't cross our minds that it could have been just a meteorite. It was huge. We could see it from very far away. My friends started calling me to ask if I had also seen it.
And as we, I just wanted to say that people who remember the Chelyabinsk meteorite, these people think, oh, it's beautiful. Look at that; it's lighting up the sky. That one was quite damaging. But I mean, it's one of our most popular videos, I think, on our YouTube account at RT. Huge interest in these things because they're so rare.
Cosmic events, you know, the stuff that brings us together, supposedly. Well, Godspeed, I should say, that nothing happened in this case. No major damage or casualties or windows shattered.
Okay, so a kind of a scenic event. Luckily, no damage done. Thanks for bringing us the details, Dan Miguel.
Thank you.
Are you serious? Are you serious? Okay, so the deal is this. President-elect Donald Trump is going to have to deal with some struggling in his own intelligence agencies as the conflict over Russia is beginning to build a rocky start for his administration. Matter of fact, according to the Crusader Journal, President-elect Donald Trump's rejection this weekend of the U.S. intelligence analysis conclusion that Russia intervened in the 2016 election, helping him to win the White House in the latest in a string of conflicts between Trump and the intelligence community. He will command. Most of them involve Russia, which has grown increasingly aggressive, according to what U.S. intelligence agencies have told Congress and the administration of President Barack Obama, now in Syria and in Ukraine. So they're becoming very aggressive in their analysis. The agencies also reported that Russia has ratcheted up their activities in cyberspace, including meddling, sometimes covertly, in European and U.S. elections. The intelligence agencies have concluded with high confidence, they say, that not only did the Russian counterparts direct the hacking of the Democratic Party's organization leaders' emails, but they did so to undermine the Democratic candidate Hillary Rodham Clinton, not just to shake confidence in the U.S. electoral system, according to U.S. officials. The president-elect's transition team responded by releasing a statement that says, according to Trump, the margin of victory was overwhelming, and that the attack on U.S. intelligence community's work on Iraq said, aren't these the same people that concluded that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq? These are the same people that said Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction. The election ended a long time ago. It's one of the biggest electoral college victories in history. It's now time to move on and make America great again. Now, in a statement issued yesterday, California Democrat Adam Schiff, a member of the House Intelligence Committee, called the Russian hacking of the U.S. election spectacularly successful. And one would also have to be willfully blind not to see that these Russian actions were uniformly damaging to Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton, and it was helpful to Donald Trump. I do not believe this was coincidental or unintended. Trump has rejected the intelligence agency's findings, and so he says, I don't believe they interfered. He told Time magazine about Russia in the interview published this week. That became a laughing point, not a talking point. A laughing point. Anytime I do something, they say, oh, Russia interfered. So Trump is in total denial as it relates to whether or not the Russians tried to help him win. He feels that, yeah, they hacked the Democrat National Committee's emails and Debbie Wasserman Schultz. But let me just say something, and John Podesta. But here's the thing. It isn't a fact whether or not Russia hacked it and revealed what they were saying. It's what they were saying. Look what they were doing. Look at the corruption. Look what Debbie Wasserman Schultz were doing. Look at, they stacked the deck against Bernie Sanders like you wouldn't believe. First of all, the Democrats have this ridiculous thing called superdelegates. And you have 500 and some of them. You start the election process by 500 superdelegates are for Hillary Clinton and 23 were for Bernie Sanders. It didn't matter what Bernie did. It didn't matter how many votes he got. It didn't matter how many stadiums he filled. He was down 500 to 23 out of the blocks. That's like being down 30-0 to start a basketball game. So, you know, and then when you read the rest of their emails that got hacked, they all were talking about how they hated Bernie and how they hated his followers and how that he was an idiot. And they called him all kinds of things. Now, look, I know he's a socialist and he needs to spend, everybody should spend a weekend with Bernie in Venezuela to understand that socialism don't work. But the Democrat Party literally crumbled on itself because it was all in, the fix was in for Hillary from day one. They put all their marbles in the Clinton cartel's basket, and now that it's blew up in their face, they don't know where to go. They don't know who to turn to. Who's the face of the party? So what Donald Trump is saying is, you got to quit blaming Russia for everything, guys. You got to start taking accountability for your own self. As it relates to the United States of America, well, according to Trump, it's time to make it great again. Well, I don't know. Let's pray one for another. This country needs to come back together. There's a lot going to go on between Trump and Putin, and it's not all going to be hand-holding time. Believe me, the honeymoon will be over very soon as the battle for who's going to control Ukraine and the flow of oil into the European Union nations is going to be huge. Trust me. I think Trump's going to let Putin he's going to get out of the way, let Putin and Iran have Syria with their little puppet Assad, but in return, Trump wants, I'm sure Trump's going to say to Putin, you got to back out of Ukraine, you got to kind of back away and not threaten the other NATO countries. Let's have peace among each other. Let's see how it plays out. It's going to get ugly. It's going to get uglier. Are you saved? Give your life to Jesus Christ. This is what the Bible said. There'd be wars and rumors of wars. And certainly, folks, we're living in the last days. It's going to get intense. Believe me. There is military assets of the United States, the Russians, and the Chinese moving around the globe. Everybody's getting in position to protect themselves from one of the others going on the offensive. Let's pray one for another. I'll be back with more current world events and how they relate to Bible prophecy. Do not miss tonight's live broadcast. BP Earthwatch will be our guest. Again, we have to bring him in because of the revelation and information, this earthquakes, and the second wave of energy from these huge gamma rays that are coming. What happened in 2004? We had a 9.1 earthquake. We had an 8.1 and a 9.1 back to back, and 250,000 people got killed. This wave coming is greater than that. We have to talk about it. We got 15 days left. I'll be back with more in just a moment.
Footage has just emerged showing what is thought to be a meteor falling from the sky in Russia's Siberia. As you can see, this dash cam caught what appears to be a meteorite lighting up the sky. Rescue services say that they've received more than 400 phone calls from eyewitnesses. And this next video shows light flashes above a residential area. The Emergencies Ministry says that there's been no significant damage to infrastructure. Here's what the author of that video told us.
When I walked out of the hospital that you can see in the dashcam footage, I walked towards the car and saw the sky light up. It was very bright. I saw a fireball. About 30 seconds later, I heard a loud explosion.
Okay, let's get more on the story now. RT's Miguel Francis Santiago joins me in the studio. And the first question I'd like to ask you, apart from what happened, was I'm quite curious. Meteor or meteorite? What are we dealing with here?
Well, actually, see, a meteorite is something that falls from the space and touches the Earth, while a meteor is the one that breaks up in the sky without really causing any significant touchdown.
So you go, there's an important distinction.
Yep, learn something new every day, huh? Well, but this one, they keep on falling, Neil. This is the third one since 2013. So the Chelyabinsk, we had a major one that shattered windows and